All right, you fuckers, you ready to get deep?
Oh, are we going deep?
Today's deep dive is brought to you by the letter F, as in fuck this job, fuck this city, and fuck yeah, dumplings for lunch.
Sounds like someone's got a case of the Mondays. Or, in this case, the everydays.
Mondays, Tuesday. Who the fuck even knows anymore, right? We're diving into the mind of Molly Liu, corporate punk extraordinaire. And let me tell you, this diary is a goddamn goldmine of raw, unfiltered angst.
Unfiltered's an understatement. This woman makes Henry Miller look like a Hallmark greeting card.
No shit. Molly holds absolutely nothing back. She's like a human F-bomb just waiting to explode all over the corporate bullshit.
Well, that's the beauty of diaries, isn't it? They offer this incredibly intimate glimpse into someone's lived experience, free from the usual filters and social niceties.
And let me tell you, there ain't nothing nice about Molly's take on her new life in New Orleans.
Oh, is that where we are?
Yeah. She relocated from Boston for this job at LT&SG Industries, which, by the way, sounds about as exciting as watching paint dry.
Tempered and sheet glass, to be precise.
Let's see. Even the product description is boring. Anyway, Molly's hating the job, hating New Orleans even more, and basically waging a one-woman war against anything that smacks of conformity.
So the classic punk rock ethos, then.
Oh, 100%. Except instead of a mosh pit, she's stuck in a cubicle. And instead of fighting the man with power chords, she's using passive-aggressive Slack emojis and eating ramen just to piss off her coworkers.
Sounds like she's got her work cut out for her. Corporate America doesn't exactly have a reputation for embracing nonconformity.
You can say that again, so let's cut to the shit. One of the things Molly bitches about the most is the whole Southern hospitality thing. She's like, these people are so fake nice, it makes me want to puke.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because on the surface, Southern hospitality is often perceived as this charming, welcoming aspect of the culture. But I can see how for someone like Molly, who seems to value directness and authenticity, it could feel suffocating, even insincere.
Oh, totally. Like,
Yeah.
she's this punk rock chick from Boston. She's used to people telling it like, and then she gets to New Orleans and everyone's all, bless your heart, y'all come back now, you hear.
It's a different kind of social script, a different way of navigating interpersonal dynamics. And those differences can definitely create friction, especially in a workplace setting.
Especially when your coworker Yvonne keeps trying to foist her goddamn banana pudding on you.
The banana pudding incident does seem to be a recurring point of contention in Molly's diary.
Right, like, let the woman eat her dumplings in peace, for fuck's sake. It's like these coworkers are determined to turn her into a Stepford employee, all smiles and casseroles.
This tension between maintaining your individuality and conforming to workplace norms is a theme we see emerge again and again in Molly's writing.
And it's not just the banana pudding, right? Like, she talks about how her boss, Annabeth, suggested she get her hair out of her face. And Molly's response is basically, fuck you. These bangs are my armor against the corporate machine.
It seems that even something as seemingly superficial as hairstyle can become a battleground for self-expression in a corporate environment.
Totally. It's like, don't you dare try to tame my punk rock soul, Annabeth, with your sensible shoes and your pastel cardigans.
Well, in fairness, we haven't actually seen Annabeth's wardrobe.
True. But you know she's rocking those sensible shoes.
Huh,
Probably with little kitten heels.
point taken.
But okay, let's cut the shit and talk about Molly's actual job, because it sounds like a special kind of hell. Apparently, LT&SG Industries is big on meetings and not the fun kind with donuts and brainstorming. We're talking soul-crushing, PowerPoint-fueled jargon fests.
Ah, the corporate pantomime of productivity.
Exactly. And Molly's not having it. She's like that one kid in class who's always shouting out answers without raising their hand, except instead of answers, it's sarcastic comments and existential questions.
I imagine that doesn't go over well with the Annabeths of the world.
You already know it. But here's where it gets really interesting. Molly describes this one meeting where they're discussing, I shit you not, the optimal placement of a goddamn pamphlet on a goddamn table at a goddamn trade show.
Riveting stuff.
Right. And everyone's all serious talking about brand synergy and target demographics, and Molly just loses it. She's like, what the fuck are we even doing with our lives? Is this pamphlet really going to change the world? Because if so, I quit.
It seems our corporate punk has stumbled upon the fundamental existential dilemma of modern office work.
And the best part is, her outburst actually sparks a real conversation. Like, for a minute, the bullshit fades away, and people actually start talking about their frustrations, their dreams, the whole shebang.
So even in the most stifling environments, a little rebellion can be a catalyst for meaningful connection.
Totally. It's like Molly accidentally punctured the corporate balloon with her punk rock safety pin, and for a brief shining moment, Everyone got a breath of fresh air.
Of course, all good things must come to an end. I assume the moment of corporate kumbaya didn't last long.
Sadly, no. Annabeth swooped in with all right, team, back to the pamphlet placement. And that was that. But hey, at least Molly got to plant the seed of doubt, right?
A small act of subversion can have a ripple effect.
Exactly. And it's not just the big meetings where Molly's stirring up trouble. Apparently, she's also become the queen of passive-aggressive slacking.
Do tell. I'm always fascinated by the subtle ways people rebel in seemingly controlled environments.
Oh, Molly's a master. Like, for example, the company has this whole thing about using professional language in all their communications, which basically translates to no swearing, no slang, no personality whatsoever.
The corporate equivalent of a lobotomy.
Right. But Molly's like, fuck that
Oh,
noise.
yeah.
She starts subtly working in F-bombs and other choice phrases into her messages like little landmines of rebellion hidden beneath the veneer of corporate speak.
I'm impressed by her commitment to linguistic disobedience.
You do.
Hmm.
And the best part is nobody seems to notice.
Yeah.
Or if they do, they're not saying anything. So it's like she's found this little loophole in the system, this way to express her individuality without getting called out by the corporate overlords.
It's a subtle reminder that even within seemingly rigid structures, there's always room for individual agency and expression.
100%. And speaking of individuality, we got to talk about Molly's fashion choices, because this is where her punk rock flag really starts to fly.
I'm ready for a fashion montage. Hit me with your best shot, Molly.
Okay, so imagine, if you will, a sea of khakis and button-downs, right?
Yeah.
That's LT and SG Industries. And then into this beige abyss walks Molly, rocking ripped fishnets. A band t-shirt that's probably older than most of her co-workers, and those infamous bangs, of course.
A bold sartorial statement, to say the least.
You already know. And the best part is, she doesn't give a flying fuck what anyone thinks. Like, she mentions this one coworker, Brad, who makes some snide comment about her interesting outfit choice, and Molly just stares him dead in the eyes and says, yeah, well, at least I don't look like a walking, talking spreadsheet.
Mic drop.
Right.
Yeah.
She's like the anti-corporate warrior, fighting conformity one ripped fishnet stocking at a time.
It's a powerful message, actually. In a world that's constantly trying to homogenize us, to fit us into neat little boxes, Molly's refusal to conform, to tone down her individuality, is a radical act of self-acceptance.
Totally. And it's not just about the clothes, it's about what they represent. It's about refusing to let the man, or in this case, Annabeth, dictate who you are and how you express yourself.
It's about embracing your inner punk rock weirdo, even if that weirdo happens to work in the tempered and sheet glass industry.
Preach.
Yeah.
But okay, let's talk about the other elephant in the room, or rather, the other city on the map. Because Molly's not just hating on corporate life, she's also got a serious bone to pick with New Orleans.
It's not exactly Boston, is it? I imagine the transition from a bustling northeastern city to the more laid-back vibe of New Orleans could be jarring.
Jarring is putting it mildly. Molly's descriptions of New Orleans are hilarious, but also kind of brutal. She calls it a swampy fever dream populated by banjo-playing ghosts and people who think Mardi Gras is a personality trait.
Ouch. It seems our city girl is struggling to acclimate to the southern way of life.
Big time. She hates the humidity, she hates the food, except for the beignets. She makes an exception for those. And she especially hates the slow pace of life. She's like, these people move at the speed of molasses in January. It's driving me fucking insane.
It's interesting how even something as seemingly positive as a relaxed pace of life can be perceived as negative depending on your cultural background and personal preferences.
Totally. It's all about perspective, right? But for Molly, it's like New Orleans is this giant symbol of everything she's trying to escape. Conformity, complacency, the slow death of her punk rock soul.
It seems our corporate punk has found herself in a double bind, stuck between a job she loathes and a city that feels utterly alien to her sensibilities.
And let's not forget the coworkers. She's surrounded by these
What?
asshats. That's what they are. A bunch of corporate asshats who wouldn't know a Sex Pistols record if it bit them in the... Well, you get the picture.
I think I'm starting to get a sense of why Molly's struggling to find her tribe at LT and SG Industries.
Right. It's like she's this lone wolf howling at the corporate moon, and all she gets back is blank stares and invitations to banana pudding potlucks.
It's enough to make anyone want to start a mosh pit in the break room.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Yeah.
But okay, let's move on to what is arguably the most relatable aspect of Molly's experience, her coworkers. Because let's be real, we've all worked with some real winners in our time, right?
I'm hesitant to admit it, but yes, I've had my fair share of challenging colleagues over the years.
So we've talked about Molly's rage against the corporate machine, her less than enthusiastic embrace of New Orleans, and her ongoing quest to find a kindred spirit amidst a sea of khakis.
Right.
But let's cut to the shit. What's the takeaway here? What can we learn from this self-proclaimed corporate punk's diary of doom and discontent?
Well, for starters, I think Molly's story is a powerful reminder that we don't have to check our individuality at the office door. We can challenge norms, express ourselves authentically, and still, be a functioning member of society.
Functioning being the operative word. Because let's be real, there's a fine line between sticking it to the man and straight-up self-sabotage.
Right. We all have to figure out our own balance, our own way of navigating the complexities of work life without losing sight of who we are at our core.
And that can be a real mindfuck, especially when you're surrounded by people who seem perfectly content to play by the rules, even if those rules are total bullshit.
It's easy to feel like the odd one out, the lone voice of dissent in a chorus of corporate cheerleading.
Totally. And it takes serious guts to stand up and be like, nope, I'm not playing your game. I'm here to do my job, not to morph into a goddamn Stepford employee.
It's that punk rock spirit of rebellion, that refusal to conform just to fit in, and it's something that resonates far beyond the realm of corporate culture.
100%. Because let's be real, we're all up against the machine in one way or another. Whether it's the pressure to conform to societal expectations, the constant barrage of advertising telling us what to buy and who to be, or just the general feeling that we're all cogs in this giant impersonal machine. It's easy to feel like our individuality is under assault.
And that's why I think Molly's story is so important, because it reminds us that we have a choice. We can choose to conform, to play it safe, to blend in with the beige wallpaper of conformity.
Oh, wow.
Or we can choose to rage against the machine, to hold on to our individuality, to never, ever let them tame our bangs.
Fuck yeah to that.
Yeah.
And speaking of bangs, I'm curious, have you ever had a boss try to dictate your hairstyle?
Let's just say I've been known to clash with authority figures over my sartorial choices on more than one occasion.
Ooh, do tell. Was it a bangs situation or something even more scandalous?
We'll save that story for another deep dive, but let's just say there were feathers involved.
Feathers. Now I need to hear this story.
Patience, my friend. Patience.
All right, all right. I can respect a good cliffhanger. But back to Molly. One thing that really struck me about her story is how despite all her anger and frustration, she never completely gives up hope.
That's true. Even in her darkest moments, there's this flicker of defiance, this sense that she's still searching for her place in the world, a place where she can be her authentic self without apology or compromise.
Exactly. Like at the very end of her last diary entry, she's talking about how much she hates her job, hates New Orleans, hates everything. And then she says, but hey, maybe it's not all bad. Maybe I'll start a band, meet some cool people, burn this goddamn corporate handbook, and rewrite the rules.
It's a powerful image, isn't it? This punk rock Joan of Arc, torching the symbols of conformity and rising from the ashes with a middle finger raised high and a heart full of hope.
Fuck yeah. That's the energy we need to take with us. So to all you listeners out there, whether you're rocking a cubicle or a concert stage, keep it real, keep it punk, and never, ever let the bastards grind you down.
And if you do happen to find yourself in possession of a corporate handbook, I say we start a bonfire.
I'm so down. Metaphorical bonfire, of course.
Oh, yeah.
We don't condone actual arson, unless it involves a truly heinous dress code.
Naturally.
All right, folks, that's a wrap on another deep dive. Until next time, stay curious, stay rebellious, and remember sometimes the most profound truths are found scribbled in the margins of a punk rock diary.
Words to live by.